Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a 2-page spread using some pictures, old pictures of my daughter at the pool. Um, she is 13 now, so that gives you a little bit of idea of where I'm at. I obviously do not scrapbook chronologically, but these are the pictures I'm going to use today. I found this sketch on Pinterest. See if I can angle it so you can see it without my light. This is done by Debbie Sanders. I'm using this top one right here. I'm going to change it a little bit, but that's my inspiration for today. I'm going to be using papers from the April Hip Kit Club, along with they sent a bunch of embellishments, ephemera and packs and stickers. I'm going to use some of this. This is the Gnomes for Summer kit from Close to My Heart that came out shortly before they closed their doors. I'm thinking about using this sticker here, maybe this sticker, some of the other stickers I need to use up from this sticker sheet. So the sketch has all of the photos kind of going across the middle. Isn't she just so cute? How cute she is. So I'm going to layer them, make a line right across the page. These two I printed 4x6 with a white border already. I may end up cutting off that white border because the base underneath is white, and I don't like how there's two whites butting up against each other right here. So I may end up cutting off that white border. These two I printed at 4x6 and then I cut down to 4x4. And this one I also printed 4x6 with the white border. And again, I may cut that off. This one's going to go on the end like this. And then these two are going to go here. I actually might like it better like this because then these two are looking at each other. So that's how that's going to go. I went through the papers and I found these two papers that I really love. Look at all these pretty colors. So I'm going to cut this in half and put each one half on each page. And then I found this just white and gray geometric shapes. I didn't want the top paper to be too bold, so I'll also cut this and I'll put this up at the top. And then this sketch shows some like a zip strip or another pattern paper going across the center right there. I'm going to see what I can find for that. But for starters, I will get this cut and put out on each side so we can see where we're at. Okay, I've got my papers cut. I'm going to move these out of the way. I've got my daughter, Emma, actually here helping right now. Can you say hi, Emma?
Hi.
Okay, Emma's going to put these papers out. Go ahead. The striped paper is going to go here on the bottom.
Right here.
Yep, and then the one on the other side. Okay, and then these other ones are going to go up here at the top.
I stay in line.
Just like that, perfect. Okay, and this one can go at the top. Go ahead. And then I can put my pictures back in here like this. Go ahead, Emma, just put it down. Okay, so these pictures will go here like this.
Sorry.
Okay. Cute. And then yep, just put your hands down under there. Don't put your head. There you go. And we'll put that one like that. And this one like this. And this one like that. Look how pretty that is already. I wanted to show you, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but I have this old idea book. This is from the Spring Summer Idea Book of 2011 from Close to My Heart. And I was flipping through it the other day, and this is where I originally drew my inspiration for this entire layout, was this right here. And I had remembered that I saw this sketch that I'm working off of from Debbie Sanders. And when I saw this, I thought it'd be perfect to put this on the top. In this layout, they're using chipboard pieces. And I remembered that I do have some chipboard pieces. So I kind of dug through my stash. I could use these with the gray. But I think I want more of a pop of color, but I left these out as a possibility. And then I found these green letters with a little sparkle on them. And in the kit, the Hip Kit Club that I got, came with these green letters as well, and they are the same color. So I could spell zone out of these and splash out of these. So I'm hoping that there's enough letters to do that. So I'm going to lay that out, see what I've got. Well, let me show you. A great example of the best laid plans don't come to fruition. So the green letters are beautiful and I love them. However, there's only one S. so I can't spell out splash, but I like that the best. So then I tried to pull out of the black and the white and the gray letters, and as you can see here, not a single color had all of the letters. I think what I'm going to have to do at this point is turn to my Cricut, because I don't have die cuts that are this big. And I really do like how this is, and I like the green color. So I'm going to go ahead and turn to my Cricut and cut out some letters with my Cricut. All right, I went ahead and cut out the word splash. I found some glitter paper that I think is a close enough match to the letters. And what I'm going to do is, these letters that came in the kit, they're actually thickers. So I don't know if you can see that on camera, but they're pretty thick, with a white core. And so I actually cut out my word splash once in the glitter letters and 4 times in a plain white paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, scoot this up a little bit, you can see these. I'm going to glue these letters one on top of the other so that they're nice and thick. I'll do a couple for you on camera so you can see what I'm talking about, but that way there's some dimension to them. So I'm just using my Barely Art Precision Glue here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on each letter, and then I'm just going to sandwich them together, make sure they're lined up perfectly, and then glue that together. And then I'm going to do it again, just a little bit of glue with the next one. These still won't be quite as thick as the thickers are, but I think it will be okay. And I did it in white because I wanted it to match the thicker. So if you look at this laying down, or when it's flat, you see the same white core on the letters as you do on the stickers. So there you can see that's 4 thick. And then I can glue the top one on. My Cricut, for some reason on this white paper, didn't cut it real smooth, but I don't think you'll see that once it's down. And I might just take a little sanding tool and sand the edges, but I think it's okay. So now I put this down. You can see, I'm just gonna use my finger to kind of scrape off the edge, and I'll use my Cricut tool just to kind of smooth that inside edge there a little bit. There we go. Perfect. So now it's a little bit thicker, and it will kind of stay up off the page. So I'm going to do the rest of these letters off camera, and then I'll come back and get it all down for you. All right, I have my letters all put together and down. They're probably going to be moved over a little bit, but you get the idea of where they're going to go. I really like how that turned out. And then my letters here, the zone, will go next to it. I've decided, I think I'm going to leave the white border on these photos, and I'm going to trim these down a little bit and add a mat to it. And I think what I'm going to go ahead and do next is ink all of the edges. I did find in this kit, it comes with this paper that has this cute banner on it. So I think I'm going to cut one strip and put it along the bottom and see how that looks. I found also in the kit a few things I might use. There's these really cute they're felt clouds that you can glue down. I don't know if they'll show up, but I might put those on there. Okay, I cut these banners. I think they're super cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of this strip. And I'm going to glue it down, adhere it down. Let me move this up a little so you can see what I'm doing. To the top of this piece that I cut earlier. Make sure I get it lined up just right. That way it's all one piece, so I don't need to ink the edges twice. I can just ink it with this down. So that one will go there. This one will go on the other side. I'll do that one off camera. So what I'm going to do now, I'm using my little Stampin' Spot. This is Pebbled Path, and a little finger dauber here that I got off of Amazon. I'm going to bring in this box lid just in case I drop something or something flakes off. I just don't want to ruin my page. So I'm just going to kind of a little bit of ink on this and just go around the edges. This will dry a little bit lighter than it is going on. So I'm just going to go around all of these edges and ink them up. Okay, I inked everything up. Let me show you. I was using this tool here that I got off of Amazon. This is the first time I've ever used these. I thought I would like them better because it was on my finger, but I don't know if you can see on camera. Do you see after inking some of the edges, it started to have some like miscellaneous, like extra pieces flake off. And I didn't like that at all. So I went back to my original tool. This is the tool I usually use. And I reserve a new sponge. It just Velcros on there like this for every new color. So I went back to that. I highly recommend these. I'll link these below and not the daubers that I use because I didn't like them at all. So let me put everything back on here so you can see how this came out. Scoot this down for you. So those are going to go here. And I'm still undecided about whether I want to ink the edges of my pictures. I'm leaning towards yes. I did go ahead and trim these down a 1/4 of an inch on each side and matted it on white so it matches the other images, other photos. So there's those two. And then these are going to go back up here at the top. And so now that I can see that down, I definitely think that the photos need to be inked as well. Let's go ahead and ink one of these edges. I'll show you this tool on camera so you can see why I like it so much. So I'm just going to put a little bit of ink on here. And this is why I use that box. I don't know if you can see, but some of those little pieces from that sponge flaked off into my box. And if those had landed on my layout and then I, swiped it away, it would have left a big ink smudge across my page, and I don't want that. So I just don't trust myself to ink over my layouts just because I know that I'll either have something flake off or I might drop the tool onto the paper, and I don't want to have to start all over again. And sometimes I don't have enough paper to be able to start all over again, and there's nothing worse than a huge ink spot across the middle of your layout when you're not going for that look. So you can see I'm just going around the edges just slightly at a slight angle. I don't want to get too much because I still want to see that there's a white mat on this photo. But I don't want too little or you won't be able to tell that it's inked, and I want it to match the rest of my inking on the other pages. So I just very slowly and carefully go around the edges. I'm kind of holding it underneath to keep it from bending as I put some pressure on the outside edges to make sure I get an even ink all the way around. Let me go ahead and do the rest of these off camera, but look at, oh yeah, that just brings out the photo so much better. So I'll do the rest off camera and then we'll come back. All right, everything is inked and ready. I'm actually going to put a couple of little adhesive marks on my Versamats here. These Versamats were a close to my heart product that you can no longer get. I believe Creative Memories might have something similar, but not quite the same. I'm always kind of on the lookout for something that's close to these because they're so useful, and I haven't been able to find anything that's as good. I'm going to start by sticking this down. I'm going to scoot this up a little bit so you can kind of watch how this goes together. So I'm just going to put some adhesive on the back of this. And then we will line it up corner. I like to do the corner first and make sure that edge is perfect. Whoops, I was going to lift that up off the adhesive just for a second to make sure that I can get it lined. There we go. Get it lined up along the edges. And then I can go across to the other corner. Get that one stuck down. And then we're going to go ahead and do pictures next, except for that one, because that one's going to go on top. But these are going to go next. And do you just see the difference now that those edges are inked? It just makes such a big difference. So we'll go ahead and get this one down. Make sure it's right up against the edge. Touching this edge. Nice and even. Okay, and then we'll do this one. And then this one is gonna go over top of this other paper. So I'll go ahead and glue that one down next. Make sure it's lined up here with the bottom. I'm kind of lining it up here with the 4 mark, which is why these Versa mats are so nice. You can see what you're doing. You can also bring in a ruler or a T-square ruler, and that helps you line this up. I'll use my Omni ruler a lot, but for this one I don't think I need to. And then let's put this down. A little bit of adhesive on this one, and it's going to go right here, just like that. Perfect. Okay, and I will go ahead and get the other side done off camera real quick, and then we'll come back. So now all my pictures are down. I'm going to lay my letters back up here and get the stickers put down, and then figure out what other embellishments I want on here. I don't like to do too much. I don't go overboard with my embellishments. Okay, I'm going to try to pick these up very carefully and just set them down gently so that they're not fully stuck down. I'm going to use the lowercase letters, so I'll pull off my E first and kind of poke out the center of that. I love these Cricut tweezers. So I think I want them to be about there. So I'm going to just barely set that down. So there's the E, and then we'll pull off the N. So I'm working backwards because I know that I want it lined up against this edge, which is why I started with the E instead of the Z, obviously. Okay, and then we'll do the O, which they're all the same size. I'm just making sure, yeah, they're all the same size, which is interesting because they do have capital and lowercase on this sticker sheet. So we'll put the O. I'm going to come at it from the side here. O, and then last but not least is our Z. Okay, so like I said, I'm just barely setting these down. The bottom is attached there, but I could pick them up if I needed to. I'm going to go ahead and commit to that. So those are down. Okay, and now that means I can stick down these letters, and I think we'll put them right like this. And instead of using my strip adhesive for this, I'm going to go ahead and use this Barely Art Precision Glue again. And again, I'm going to start with the H so that I can make sure the spacing is good. So we'll just go here and put on some glue on the back. And I am going to use my tweezers to place this just because it allows you to see it without your hands in the way. And I feel like my hands are always too big to see around what I'm doing. So I want it to be right there. Then I can stick it down and remove the tweezers and stick that down. Yeah, I like that. Takes just a second for that glue to adhere. So I will stick down the rest of those real quick. I have my letters down. I'm kind of tidying up as I go. I wanted to show you a little storage hack. So I use these zip top bags. This one's just a small square snack size bag. If I had a smaller one, I would. I drop my ink pad in there once I've used it to ink the edges of my pages, um, along with a little piece of paper that I inked on, because sometimes you can't tell what the color is based off of the outside of it. So I drop that in there, and then I take the sponge that I used and I drop it in there as well. That way it's all together. The next time I want to use it, I know that this is the dedicated sponge for that color, and I can see what the color will look like once it's inked and dried. So just a little tip for you. So I'm working on embellishments. I found these clouds that I had showed you before, and I pulled them out, and I do like them up there. They're all different sizes, and you can see the kit comes with a lot of them. So I was just thinking that it might be kind of cute to have a few different sizes, like a medium one over here maybe. No, I think I like the big one in the middle maybe. No, I liked it better over there. Maybe just a couple over here. Just because we are outside of the pool, I thought that was kind of cute. I'm going to move on to these tags that are shown here on the bottom of the layout. They're all different lengths, so I've cut 2 already. They're going to go down here on the bottom. And they are varying lengths, so I cut a few more. I was going to show you how I dovetail these. I'm going to layer a couple of them on top of each other. I am going to make these all different lengths once I get them cut, but I'm basically just going to cut right up the center, a little slit to what looks like center, like that. And then I'll cut from this corner into that same cut, like that. And then I'll cut from the other corner into that same center cut. And then when they pop off, you can kind of clean those up, but that gives you a nice dovetailed tag. So now I've got these tags, and I do want them to be all different lengths. So these 2 I'm going to leave, and then these 2 are a little bit shorter. And I think I'll just cut a little bit off the top for this one. And then I'll cut a little bit off the top of this one. And I think I'll leave that one the same. We'll do the longest one in the middle. And then over here, I think we'll do that one, this one, then this one, and then that one. We'll see. I may trim those down a little bit more later, but I cut those little tags from the same glitter paper. The next thing I want to do is pull off this sticker. I really want to use this Soaking Up Some Summer Fun sticker. It's yellow and orange, and I think it's the perfect colors to pull in her swimsuit and her towel. I actually don't know that I like that right there. This is one of those elements that I was certain was going to go right there, and I was just going to love it, and I don't really. So I think what I'm going to do is move it down here and maybe just bring in another cloud for over here to just fill that space. I like that this is kind of open. It's not the same color as sky, but it kind of represents open space, and with the clouds on it, I like it just like that. I don't think it needs anything more. I might put some rhinestones or dots, adhesive dots or something, just to add a little bit more bling to it, but I am liking this down here. I could maybe even, I like to have odd numbers, and now I have an even number of clouds. I could maybe even put a small cloud over in this corner and just kind of do something like that. Yeah. And then do my journaling down here. So that is what I'm going to work on next. I've decided to go ahead and commit to these clouds just as they are. I'm going to use some adhesive dots. I'm just going to put a couple on the back of these clouds. And they should be enough to just hold them down. So I'm going to put one up here like that. Oh yeah, plenty of stick. I found these white kind of gems in my stash. I believe these, yeah, they are close to my heart. These are old, close to my heart. It was a reward. I don't even know where I got these. They're so old. Anyways, so I found these little white ones. So I'm going to go ahead and stick a few of these down, different sizes, kind of all around the page. I'm not going to put a whole lot of thought into it. I'm just going to take some different sizes and just stick them around. I don't want to do too many. I'm going to start with 3 on that side since I have 3 clouds, and then we'll do the same on this side. I've added a few of those dots on each side. I think I'm just going to add one more. I'm not sure I like that it's an even number between, you know, the same amount of clouds is the same amount of little rhinestones. So I'm going to add one more. So there's 4 on this side with 3 clouds. This side, it doesn't bother me as much. I'm not sure where I would add another one. So for right now, I'm going to leave that as is and call that good. I've also decided to commit to this sticker down here, but I don't like it sitting directly on top of the layout. So I'm going to pop it up on some foam tape. So I'm just cutting kind of 2 strips of foam tape that will go across the bottom of this, the top and the bottom of this sticker. I got this foam tape at Hobby Lobby and it is so sticky. That might be a little long. I'm going to trim it down just a tiny bit. I'm just going to stick that down like so. I think that's thick enough to not let the center sag when I put it in my album. So I'll peel off the back of those and we'll get this stuck down. I really love this layout. The colors, it's very subtle, but it's bright at the same time. And I just think it draws out the color of the pool water and her swimsuit and all the fun things in these pictures. So I'm going to make sure I have these kind of spaced out the way I'm going to want them. I think that's going to be fine. And I'm going to bring in my tweezers again. I just like to see it without my hands in the way. And I think it'll look good right about there. So I'm going to go ahead and gently set that down. Perfect. And then we've got these here. So I will stick the banners down as well, and this side of the page is going to be done. So I'm sticking these tags down, and I just wanted to show you, instead of butting it up right against this layer here, I am making sure that I tuck it underneath a little bit. It just seems to flow a little better. You can see that when this is right there, you run the risk of leaving a little gap, and I don't want there to be any gaps. So I'm just tucking it underneath that border piece just slightly so that I know that it's going to flow really neatly. And I'll do the same with this. So I was very careful to make sure when I put this down that I ran adhesive down the middle of it and left enough off the edge so that I could tuck these underneath here. So those are going to go like that. I'm going to show you how I like to do my journaling. I kind of played around with this already a little bit. I printed it out on some regular paper and kind of held it over and did some cutting to make sure that my spacing and my how long each sentence, or how long the words would fit. So what I like to do, this is not something that I put a whole lot of thought into. I don't do any measuring. I don't even care if it's all that straight. But what I'm going to start by doing is just cutting off the extra on the side. I just kind of eyeball it, make sure that I'm getting close to the words but not cutting off any words, and that I have kind of the same on each side, which I do. There's a little bit more on this side than the other side, but I'll trim that off as I cut. and then I'll trim off the bottom. And I'm gonna leave a little bit extra because I do the rest by hand. I don't use a cutter because it's hard to get it consistent. I just use my scissors, so I'm literally gonna cut as straight as I possibly can, as close to the letters as I can without cutting off anything important, nice and slow. And then I'm gonna turn it over and do the same thing on the bottom. Just as straight across as I can. And then I will trim off a little bit on each edge. And then that will be my first sentence, and it will go right here. And then I do the next one. So I have my journaling all cut and adhered down, and now I'm looking at this sticker sheet to see if there's anything else that I can use. I really want to cover up this boo-boo here of when I rip the paper up, and I think I can use this sun-kissed sticker and stick it right there. I'm also thinking about using this You Brighten My Day. It matches the pinkish color in this. It's a whale, so that we call this pool the whale pool because it has this little whale slide. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this off. And we're going to see, what I'm thinking about doing is just tucking it in here. Like, I think that would look really cute. Let me use my tweezers and just kind of hold it. Yeah, I think that would be really cute. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and it's just the right color. So if I just kind of pick these up, see if I can get underneath this one. There we go. And that one. And I can just tuck it just like that. Yeah, I think that just adds a little something to the layout. I've got little scraps of paper all over. Yeah, I like that. I've decided to not do any other embellishing to this page. I'm going to go ahead and pop it up off of this Versamat here so you can see these felt clouds. Look how cute they are. And that sticker up close. You can see this sticker and that shimmery glitter. That's the one half, and then here's the other side. And you can see once I picked it up, I didn't quite get that paper even, so I'll trim that off the bottom, but you can see my journaling, the inked edges, and there's my little rhinestones, my pearls, the clouds. You can see the thickness of the letters all glued together. So overall, I actually really love this layout. I love the colors. I love how it came together. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. You can click that notification bell to be notified whenever I post a new video. I've linked it to a video that I think you might enjoy watching, and I hope to catch you in another video. Thanks for watching this one. Bye.